King Louis XIV's crowns represents his achievements, which were that he centralized the government, meaning he took control away from the local nobles and managed France by himself. He also made France the biggest country in Europe through wars and diplomacy, and made the army and navy bigger and stronger. King Louis XIV's jacket represents his special projects or things that were important to him, which were that he built the palace called Versailles, where kings and nobles used to live. He made important roads and canals like the Canal du Midi to help trade and transport in France, and he hosted lavish festivals which played with plays and celebrations called Les Plaisirs de l'Île Enchantée Versailles, inspiring further palace expansion.
On the right sleeve, we put King Louis XIV's political supporters. One of his political supporters was Marquis de Louvois, the Minister of War who had helped build and modernize the French army. Another one of his political supporters we put on the right sleeve was Hugues de Lionne, the Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs who managed France's diplomacy and alliances. And the third political supporter we put was Cardinal Mazarin. He was like a teacher to young Louis XIV and helped control the kingdom when Louis was a child, and also helped him make important decisions to keep France strong. On the left sleeve, we have put King Louis XIV's political adversaries. We had the Fronde. This was a series of civil wars and noble uprisings against the royal power early in Louis's life. Next, we have the Franco-Dutch War. Against the Dutch Republic. It was a war against the Dutch Republic and its allies to increase French power. And lastly, we also had the 9 Years' War. This was a major conflict involving France against a coalition of European powers. On the right pant leg, we put his important setbacks. One was when he was young, nobles rebelled against him, which made it hard to rule at first. He also spent lots of money building the huge palace of Versailles, which used up a lot of France's money. He made Protestants leave France by stopping their right to practice their religion, which hurt the country's economy.
King Louis's left pant leg depicts his lasting legacy, which includes how he changed Versailles from a simple hunting lodge into a huge and beautiful palace that truly showed how powerful he was as a king. Additionally, he moved the government and the nobles to live at Versailles, making it the center of French politics and helping him control the nobles better. Finally, Versailles became a symbol of France's strength and culture, influencing art, architecture, and royal courts all over Europe. King Louis's right shoe illustrated his relationship with the nobles, which included how he required them to spend much of their time at the Palace of Versailles, where he distracted them with things like ceremonies, honors, and lavish court life. This drastically reduced their political power as they focused on gaining his favor instead of ruling locally. Additionally, nobles lost much of their traditional influence in the government since Louis centralized power in himself and loyal ministers. However, they gained privilege at Versailles when they competed for symbolic honors like handing him his t-shirt in the morning. Finally, nobles remained loyal to Louis because he granted them pensions, privileges, and status in the court. In return, they supported his absolute rule and helped maintain order in the provinces. King Louis's left shoe emphasized his relationship with the peasants and the poor or working class. Peasants paid much of France's taxes, a majority of them, while nobles and clergy were largely exempt, leaving the poor heavily exploited. Peasants owed unpaid labor and feudal dues, while also suffering from famines, which made worse by Louis's costly war and lavish spending. Living in luxury at Versailles, Louis remained detached from common struggles, reinforcing resentment and more class divisions.